Hello and welcome. I've posted this tutorial for the frames for your artwork, and quite a lot of you asked about one where the border follows the pen. And while it is possible to do in Procreate, it is a very fiddly process and requires some tweaking in settings. It also has its limitations to a straight line, and well, it's not my favorite way of working, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways, so you know how if you ever need it. The process itself is the same as with the creation of the brush, so I won't bore you with the details. If you're curious, head over to this video in the corner, or I will add it in the description. There I'm showing you step-by-step way. Here I will just go through some settings of how to set up a brush where the borders show up exactly where your pen is and how to use it. And we'll use a duplicate of the previously created border with some tweaks. Okay. Once you have your border design complete and exported as a PNG or copied from the layer, we're going to duplicate the previously created brush and access its settings. In the shape menu, we're going to click on Edit, Import, and either paste or import a photo depending on whether you've saved it as a PNG or just copied the layer. When you see it here, press Done to go back to shape. Now you can copy the settings as they're shown on here, but they're pretty much the same except for randomized being switched off. Now we're going to the grain section, and here we're going to edit the shape as well, but we will import and click on Source Library. We're choosing the square and clicking Done when complete. We're changing the grain behavior to moving, increase movement to rolling. You can copy the rest of the settings as you see them here as well. And in properties, we're switching on orient to screen, so we always have it vertical as well. The last thing we do is go to the stroke path section, and this is where the fiddly part begins. If you draw a line, you can see that the stamps are not aligning and there are gaps between them. To make it a continuous line, we need to adjust the spacing to a set percentage where the stamps are next to each other without a gap. In my case, it is roughly 62%, but you might adjust it to something else. Now the good thing is that once you adjust it perfectly, you can change the size of the brush and the gaps should automatically adjust as well. So once you've done that, we can go and test our border. Create a new layer and switch off the visibility of others. Now go to Settings on the top left, and in the Canvas section, switch on Drawing Guide. Ensure in the Edit Drawing Guide menu you have selected 2D Grid and that the Assisted Drawing option is turned on. You can also check Assisted Drawing is on the layer itself. Choose your new brush, choose the color you like and draw a line. Now, my iPad has a hover preview of the brush, so I know exactly where it's going to land, but if you doesn't, then know the Apple Pencil lands exactly in the middle of that shape, like you see here. Once you create a line, check if the spacing looks good and there are no gaps. If there are, go to Brush Settings, Stroke Path and adjust the spacing again. And like I said, if you change the frame size, the gaps will adjust automatically as well. You can also rotate your canvas to create horizontal lines. This is the limitation of this process, that you can only make it in a straight line, and because it takes the shape of your original design, you can't finish the line at the exact point where you want it to, because it will just add the ending of the stamp as you draw the line. Now, if your brush doesn't want to align and you have either an overlap or a gap, there is a way to fix it. However, this will only work with a specifically designed border shape, so you might have to go back to your drawing board and adjust it to allow for overlap on each end of it, as you can see here. This way we can reduce the spacing and ensure we have no gap, and because there is no design for a couple of pixels, we don't have to worry about the overlap. Now, this is by no means perfect. Even if you align it perfectly, the lines might not be looking as smooth and uniform as you'd like, or the design might have a few pixels of imperfections. However, I do not think that Procreate has any other better way of creating this kind of brushes that will follow the pen itself and not use the texture mechanics. So this is the only way I've figured out so far where you don't have to move your borders and you can draw them in the exact spot as your pencil. And due to those limitations and others I won't mention just yet, I create my art using not only Procreate but also Affinity Designer. I will be posting soon a little introduction to its functionality versus Procreate, including real-life examples from my work process, but let me just demonstrate how easy it is to create a nice-looking border in Affinity. Imagine I've imported my drawing and I want to have a frame in a circle shape. I'm drawing the shape itself, choose my border brush that I've created earlier, and here you go. I can adjust the size and shape in a non-destructive way. If you want a rounded square or a rectangle, no problem. A wavy line, got you covered. A straight one, yep, also done. You want it bigger? Just use the slider, easy. Now, I'm not saying this is a perfect way of doing things, but I do prefer Affinity Designer's way of adding borders rather than the fiddly way of Procreate. But in the end, it all depends on your workflow, the desired effect, and personal preferences. In the upcoming weeks, I will be comparing Procreate mechanics with Affinity Designer and explaining why I think those two programs are a perfect match. Have a great time creating, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!